Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description. Alright, first off, apologies for the lighting. I don't know what's going on in here other than I gotta replace a light over there, but sometimes the camera on this computer looks a little bit fuzzy. Just some, what is it, housekeeping, bookkeeping stuff, no pun intended. If you haven't read my latest novel, A War of Voices, check it out down below. It's the first link in the description, and it's a blend of It, Words on Bathroom Walls, and Stranger Things. Just give the description a read. Let me know if it sounds enticing. It is free on Kindle Unlimited if you have it, or I also have it on hardcover and paperback. Any of my other stuff for Magic for Hire, classes, my Patreon, all that other stuff, you can find that in the link tree down below. Anyways, welcome back to Magickology. So I'm a little bit scrambled, but I did want to, talk about the current topic, which is trusting your intuition, trusting your senses. Because recently, and actually since last summer, I've had a lot of different experiences, both inside ritual and outside of ritual, that speak to this kind of thing. And I have talked about them a little bit in other videos. But, so the thing that kind of brought this on was last night with the eclipse, which I'll get to. And then in one of my latest videos that came out, I do believe that I had my cat Teeny, that showed up in the video. Sadly, a couple of days ago, she passed away, and still that's why I'm spacey and stuff. You ever lose a pet, it's like you lost a family member and whatnot. So that does suck. But so where do I start with this? So when we were there at the vet, and she was in and out of it because she was on a big sedative and painkillers. It's just when you have a person or an animal that you're present with, and you're like, I wonder if they can hear what I'm saying, and things like that. There's plenty of cases when people are under anesthesia or in a coma or whatever, and they do report hearing things and seeing things, that where the people that were around them, they're talking to them and stuff, and they can actually see and or they can hear and remember those things. So do I like to think that that happened with my cat? Yes. And I'll tell you that after the vet administered the sedative to have her pass out, and then the other medication to stop her heart, we were sitting there with her, and we did a little bit of ceremonial stuff. We had our mesas and things with us, because we do everything spiritual, and we're sitting there. I swear to you that I heard, in my left ear specifically, I heard her purring. And if that's not a message from her spirit that she was there, then I don't know what is. Now, several months ago, or last summer, there's a waterfall in a cave. It's a really, really amazing place. And we were sitting there doing some ceremony and meditating and things like that. And there's a part in it where we've dunked ourselves into, as part of a ritual baptism, I guess you could call it. And when I was sitting there just gazing, because in one of the things in meditation, you sit there and you focus on a particular point, because you're forcing your brain to focus on something, where our brains lightly have ADD. They want stimulation. So sitting there and focusing on one thing, your brain's like, what's going on here? I need more. And that's what allows your brain to open itself up to the other senses that communicate through our astral psychic antennas and creep through our subconscious and then into our conscious. It's why meditating is very, very helpful for being able to listen to spirits and get that intuitive knowledge and things like that. And I saw, partially with my physical eyes and partially with my mind's eye, a big cat that prowled along the back of the cave. And then there was another instance when we were at a spring that's about an hour from here. It's encased in a little house. So it almost looks like the ones that you would find in the British Isles. And it's the only one like that in New England. We were sitting there, and we were doing some things with with the spring. We did some offerings and meditation and stuff. And behind it, there was a tree stump. And I glanced over there, and I did talk about this in a previous video. Yeah, I saw this white fluff, and I was wondering what it was. And then the next day, when I was doing a guided meditation with one of the classes that we're in, the animal that came to me was a white horse. So connect the dots there. That white horse showed itself to me even before I was in that meditative state. And then there was one other time that I know I talked about in a previous video, where I was on my back porch. It was dark out, and I have grass and then a line of trees, and there's this giant tree right behind my house. And we're sitting there and we're doing prayers and different things like that. You notice a pattern here. And I saw this thing with both my mind's eye and my physical eyes. It's kind of hard to discern. Let me know if you want me to try to elaborate on that more in a different video. But the senses, especially like the psychic senses, they're more of an intuitive thing rather than seeing it like in the way that you're seeing the computer or your phone or however you're watching this. It can kind of creep into that regular sight, but it's more of something you intuit, and you can just sense it, if that makes any sense. No pun intended. But this thing that my brain recognizes like a deer that was mostly vapor and ghostly jumped out from behind a tree about 10, 12 feet up, and it jumped out and it faded before it hit the ground. And there's nothing that was moving around, no birds, no nothing that could give that rational physical world explanation for it. And the thing about when you're seeing these things and you're hearing these things and things like that, you trust that they occurred. I have such a bad habit of over-rationalizing. Oh, that could have been dust. That could have been a leaf. Maybe I'm just tired. Stuff like that. That's where you're discounting and squashing your psychic senses when you're trying to make sense of it. You know, you want to do that just a little bit to kind of process of elimination of what it could be. But if you do that too much, then you're squashing the very thing that you're trying to grow. If you're trying to grow your intuition and your psychic senses. And even last night, which was that big eclipse that we had, I woke up at about 1:30 to see if I could see anything. And we had all cloud cover over here, which kind of sucked. But one thing about eclipses is animals and stuff, they go silent, which is really, really weird that they know stuff. Animals, plants, spirits, they all know way more than we do, right? So I'm on my back porch again. And I brought the maces out, and I had the different bells and stuff for invoking spirits and things. If you want to learn more about that kind of tradition, we actually do have a mentoring thing for that on my Patreon, because both my girlfriend do the Pachacudi Mesa tradition. But when I was out there and I rang the two spirit bells that go with the Pachacudi Mesa tradition, and then I have a 7-metal Tibetan bell that I got as an antique that I also rang, and that thing is just so lovely sounding. And that's for purification and calling in spirits also. And when I did that, I'm watching, and I'm just looking out at the trees, and I saw at least 2 or 3 things that I would describe as lightning bugs, but intuitively they didn't communicate to me as lightning bugs. It was something different. You would think that given that it's an eclipse and everything is quiet, usually when you see lightning bugs, there's like, you see a sparkle here, then a couple seconds later you see a sparkle there, and it's either the same one flying around in circles or it's a group of them. At least that's what happens around where I live. So just to see this random flash here or there, that spoke to me that it was not the mundane stuff. And even a lot of times when my lady and I are in deep conversation and things, we will see random blue dots that just pop in the air. And that's a sign that we're in like really, really deep conversation, or that there's a spirit there listening and things like that. Now you might think I'm totally talking out of left field here, and maybe that's not your experience, or maybe you think I'm making it up and whatever. But the more that you trust these kinds of things, the more that you're opening yourself up to the world of spirits and their ability to communicate with you and connect with you. And the more that you do that with trusting what you're seeing and feeling and hearing, then the more that muscle is being built. So it comes in more easily. It communicates with you more easily. Because if you're constantly shutting down, it's like every time your phone rings, you're silencing it. You're not even checking who's calling you. You don't care. Well, your friends try calling you, you silence it, you don't pick up, you don't care. They're going to stop trying to communicate with you, right? Same thing with whatever spirits you're trying to invoke, whatever spirits you're trying to work with, whether it be, the Goetics, the Nergak, the 50 Names of Marduk, angels, or nature spirits, fairies, gnomes, or any of those things. You have to train your mind to be open to these kinds of things by being open to the synchronicity things that happen. And even when your intuition is telling you, I think I'm hearing my cat that has passed away because her heart was stopped and the doctor checked it. I'm hearing a purring sound audibly. I'm not making it up in my head. I'm hearing it. You trust that, and I guarantee you your ability to understand and perceive and intuit these things will grow. So that's just my 2 cents on it. So let me know what you think. Anyways, if you want me to expand on this kind of thing or any of the little topics that I talked about in this video, definitely let me know and I will try to make more videos on those kinds of things. This information applies to anyone who's working a path, working like the gate walking that I have a mentorship program for, or anyone that's just stopping by these videos to gain a little bit of spiritual knowledge, which I have a ton of. So let me know what you think about this one. Drop anything in the comments. Definitely suggest any video topics that I have not yet made, or maybe that you can't find in my slew of videos, or you want me to elucidate more on. So yeah. Anyways, still a little bit frazzled, but thanks for being here. I'll catch you guys next time. Good hunting.